What's up, gamers? It's Demon back with another Zenless video, and today I'm going to be talking about this Anby drama. Yes, there is drama with Anby in particular, and this is mainly the S rank Anby, or SAMB, if many people like to call her. There's some issues, right? And it is worth pointing out, right, that Hoyo has already mentioned it in a way that they're going to be fixing some of them. But I do want to talk about this as there's been a lot of posts talking about Anby, how she's kind of counterintuitive to play, like it doesn't feel good to play. It's hard to see her mark in some cases, right? Which, to be fair, like I would say that's a fair concern, depending on the team you have and like other scenarios. But I personally don't have a big problem judging her mark because it's typically, and this is one of the problems that does happen. It's typically like two basic rotations, right? And you get all three marks applied. But the part of the issue with this in particular is that, well, for one, you aren't able to get your full combo in, right? You're not able to dodge, right? And then there's also the added fact of Anby herself missing some attacks flat out, like her ultimates, and all these other ways to where you're not going to consistently get your full marks as you probably should, right? So having some visibility issues with like damage numbers, and additionally having the fact that she can miss some attacks and you just don't get your full marks can cause a problem for a lot of players, when they want to use Anby, or so on, right? And so I just want to go over that, right? There's a big drama post about it, or somebody has a post about it from the C inside of the community, right? Where they primarily have been talking about it. As I could say, this was like 4 days ago that I saw this, right? I just hadn't got to it yet. But yeah, so as you can see here, Hoyoverse has already mentioned the issue, right? And inside the game, and I actually am in game right now if you're like hearing the background noises, because I was doing some testing, want to confirm some stuff, right? See how all of it works. And so as it says here, right, March 21st, which was actually today, right, as of recording, there is a known issue that while triggering a dodge after the fourth hit of the Agent Soldier Zero Amby's basic attack, where the timing of the dodge and the detection of Agent Soldier Zero Amby hit status during the fifth basic attack are abnormal. So basically, in case you don't understand what they're saying here, right, and this is something I'll clarify in a bit when I actually go over the post, is that during her actual fourth basic attack animation, if you like do a certain action, which in this case dodge, it messes up the combo, and additionally you can also just be like hit out of your attacks, right? And it'll be more clear about it once I actually read the post, but basically it's not, according to Hoyoverse, it's not intending as they wanted it to, right? You're supposed to get some iframes, because like a jump attack and all this stuff. So obviously, Amby's state during her fourth, fifth basic attack are not working as intended, right? There is a known issue regarding the trigger timing of Soldier Zero Amby's special attack when it is used after a dodge. So this also happens in the same scenario, right? Where if you dodge and try to use the special attack, it also like doesn't work properly. And the above issues will be fixed in an update next week. So even though Amby has been out for like a week at this point, you're gonna have to wait basically until trigger is out to when she'll be fixed, right? Because there's what, like, is it 10 11 days on the banner? I'd have to check, I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that Amby is effectively being fixed after her banner, right? It's at the very tail end of it, but still it is unfortunate that these things happen when making games, and it's not uncommon to have bugs, but it does suck for the people playing Amby right now that their character is gimped in a way as they can't utilize their abilities. So I do want to showcase a couple of things here. There's a person that had a controversial post, a post that not many people saw, where they are talking about the positioning of Anby and how you obviously missed the ultimate, right? And I do think this is a worthwhile thing to point out, that there are cases, right, where it is possible for you to miss the ult. Now I'm not gonna like read all this. I'm just gonna show you the clips so you guys can like understand like the full concept of what's going on here, right? So you can see, right, this person's just in the testing room to test Anby, gets hit, and then immediately uses ultimate, and it completely whiffs because the enemy gets pushed out of it, right? So I just want to make sure you guys are aware that this is a possibility happening. And then here's another post about it, right, where someone is clearly pointing out the target and how Anby's ult is over here, right? This is obviously from the CN community. So you see he gets to the ult, and because Anby is not facing the enemy, it's just completely off, right? Again, not sure how that one even happens, but that is something that happens. And then, of course, here's another one where Amby's ultimate can miss on stun targets, right? Uh, which has also apparently happened. So you can see there's a lot of issues with how this character is controlled, right? There's a stun target. She's behind the enemy in this case, right? She turns around, and despite the fact he gets pushed forward, right? And this boss has had multiple issues. I remember with believe it was Piper, to where this boss would get pushed. No, it was Corrin. It was Corrin. That's right. It was with Corrin. If you try to use Corrin's EX special, right, her chainsaw on this boss in particular, it just keeps pushing him back, right? Which they did fix, right? But you can see once again the same boss is having issue with another character with knockback effects. And yeah, Anby just completely whiffs her ultimate. You don't get your full stacks, which means you lose out on, well, a massive chunk of damage, because most of Anby's damage, or most of her combo, that is I'm not trying to click on that. Most of her combo is from doing 3 marks into her double special, right? Or sorry, triple special. So yeah, I do think it's worth mentioning there that that is another aspect of this whole Anby debacle of the character not really working properly. It's very unfortunate that that is the case. But yeah, let's hop into this actual post over here of um maybe I shouldn't show that sidebar. But yeah, so this post is summary of the Anby iframe and dodge input drama on the CN side, right? I haven't looked at any of the EN side stuff, right? Because I'm not the most I'm not the most I'm not the most like whatever. I don't use a lot of social media. Point is, post Anby not working. So yeah, so this person, I thought I would write this post saying that nobody's posted on Reddit. And in essence, there's a total war going on the CN side regarding Anby's clunky handling, mainly how her dodge input doesn't work, is counterintuitive, and her iframes don't function properly, as intended. Along with various other bug/features of her kits, the top comments of the blog post are fix Anby. So in case you aren't familiar with this, which I wasn't until I actually saw this post like again a few days ago, that there has been this drama with how Anby actually functions, right? And I won't be able to showcase all of it because I'm not exactly complete on some of the details. I was testing specifically like how much this character gets out of it, right? And she generates about half meter every time you do a dodge counter, which is going to be pretty important because with this character, you're going to be doing a lot of basic attacks, right? You're going to get about half meter by doing your first combo. And then let's say the enemy does an attack, which is going to be pretty common within the basic string window. You do a dodge counter, and then boom, that's full meter. So it's very important for her to obviously get these dodge counters for this to work properly for the character's typical gameplay loop, right? One side is demanding Hoyo fix her, while the other insists that the issues pointed out were false and an intended feature of those complaining should get good, which is obviously not the case, right? Because Hoyoverse, pointed out. Now, there's always a chance that Hoyoverse, like, quote unquote, fell to the complaints, right? Sort of way where, like, they're just like, we're going to change it now because everybody's complaining. Like, that's a non-zero, like, there's a chance, right? Non-zero possibility, but, like, I highly doubt that was the case because most things in the game function similarly, where depending on the character, you dodge and then you either can continue the combo or you get placed into a certain point in the combo. Like my Abby getting placed at her NA3, right? Yanagi, whenever she uses her abilities, being placed right at her NA3, right? And so like this is a thing where most of the characters in the game are intentionally made to do that. So I kind of doubt that they intentionally made Anby just completely break her combos, right? Like I don't think that was intentional. Because for the most part, they do a really good job at like designing these mechanics in Zenless, right? There have been like a few issues where they again have had to like go in and like patch characters, like how they completely broke Billy, like in 1.4, right? But yeah, for the most part, they're like really good at actually doing this. And so yeah, around March 13th, players started to build up a voice that Anby feels shit to play. The reasoning behind the outrage is as follows, right? A basic attack 4 and 5 have higher priority than dodges, meaning you are committed to the animation and cannot dodge out of it. However, the iframes are supposed to cover basic attack 4 and 5 do not actually cover the whole attack and end prematurely. This means you can get hit with no counterplay. The players believe either you give the players an option to dodge out of it or have iframes cover the entire attack. This contradictory design when compared to any other characters in the game. Like I said, Most characters in the game, they just allow you to do a full combo without any issue, right? But that attack right there, they're saying you can be hit out of it, right? So I'm not gonna get like a perfect flip to like replicate it. Oh, well, would you look at that? I just get completely hit out of my attack. Um, I think that was actually an NA3. I just want to like double check that. Vivian here. This is probably a bad stage to showcase this, but anyways, you get the point, right? The post clearly states that people are having an issue with how the N4 and N5 function, and so yeah. Her EX skill and ult do not match the skill description and also have iframe gaps. The description of her skill and ult says that when hitting will grant max stacks, but in reality, there's only grant stack upon fully hitting, which is true. The final hit of the ult, the big X, and the final hit of the sword swipe whenever it like comes back to you is when you actually get full stacks for both of those skills, right? This makes it so that enemies can walk out of the attack and render it useless. This is actually true. I've had this happen multiple times myself. And again, that's not really something I can like easily replicate. Maybe I can by just like throwing it here. Yeah, no. I'd probably have to like restart the stage, but you guys get the idea, right? Like it is possible for her to miss both of these attacks and you just don't get the stacks from it. She's the only character that gets slapped out of her ults when canceling the whole attack, which is also possible. It wasn't shown in any of these clips, but from what I've heard and seen, people have been completely knocked out of their ultimates. And this would be at the end of the ultimate, right? So whenever she, does her cool stance at the very end, right, you get hit, the X doesn't pop, and so you don't get your stacks, right? Which is completely different than every other character because for every other character, you're completely immune during the ult animation, right? And even, I believe, chain attack animations. So, yeah. This is because the iframes also end prematurely. There are iframe gaps between EX special to triple special and vice versa. This is also because the iframes end prematurely, so you can get hit during her bread and butter burst combo. During, oh my god, sorry. Her targeting after basic tech 3 doesn't work properly, often resulting in her attacking place after moving backwards from basic tech 3. So, in case you don't understand, like the slashing part, like this one's like hard to explain, but basically, she doesn't move properly after using her basic tech 3 in some cases, right? Again, these are just bugs that may happen sometimes. Her dodge is the worst in the game with the least amount of effective iframes for a character that needs a dodge counter to be optimal, which this I honestly don't even know. I feel like that could be possible. That's like something that have to be tested more thoroughly, right? Like again, this is not something I can like 100% say for certain that it's got the least amount of active frames, but yeah, I mean it's really hard to say. Again, I'm gonna take them at their word for this, especially because there are videos that are of course copied here. Above are the oh my god. All the above are exacerbated by the fact that the current deadly assault boss you would use her for is the construction machine, right? Which everybody knows what that is. Who has multiple continuous attacks like the laser, the drill, which really showcase Anby's iframe gaps and an inability to dodge. This video was one of the earlier ones among many showcases above that have gained traction. Thankfully, there actually is a link here for this, right? This guy's gonna showcase this. Why is the full screen button a radiation symbol? Anyways, yeah. I can't read Chinese, so I don't know exactly when it's being showcased. I can pause here and look for it though, so I will do that. Okay, so I believe right here around 2 minutes is a good point to where they basically showcase her messing up her dodge, right? You can see during the attack, right, just completely hit. And then there's going to be another one, right, where she's completely interrupted during her basic attack 4, which, in case you don't know, most jumping attacks in this game, right, primarily Vaughn, if you've played Vaughn, he's completely immune during that, right? She just completely breaks, as you saw there, right? Just completely stops. Right there, again, she probably should have been immune doing her combo, right? Immediately gets stopped by another hit, right? So yeah, you can see it's pretty clear that she's getting hit like at the like mid of her combos, like when she's doing her jumps, right, and other stuff where it just completely cancels all your attacks, which it's very unfortunate for this character, as that is how you would optimally play her, right? I don't know if they showcase the laser. Is this okay? Yeah, so she's getting hit like mid combo. I don't. That could have been a mistake, to be honest with you. I'm not. It's hard to see because it's kind of blurry. Um, I again can't read any of the text, so I don't know how to use Billy Billy, right? But yeah, that's just them showcasing her getting hit once again, right? So yeah, as you can see, even without being able to read it, it's pretty clear that there's some issues with how it functions compared to other characters, right? So yeah, of course there were immediate responses. I won't go into the typical. Not every character needs to be my Abby. I got blah 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 score. I don't see the issue comments. Just know that these comments really riled up the discussion. There was a CC that responded that if you are shit at the game, then go practice instead of complaining. Which, look, to an extent, that is true, but I think it's pretty clear, right? Now, to be fair, I'm someone that's played the game a lot, right? I haven't like insanely pushed the towers, but I've like beat all the content, right? I'm gonna start doing the more extreme stuff like M0 killing a bringer of my Abbey. So like I'm pushing this harder stuff. I'm very familiar with how these characters work, especially animation cancels, primarily with the characters that I play, right? Some of these other characters I don't play, I'm not as familiar with, but even to me, somebody who knows a lot about the game, it's not always as simple as skill issue, right? Sometimes there are going to be the cases where it is pretty much an issue that something works in an unpredicted manner or a manner that's something that the player wouldn't expect, right? And whether that's a bug or not, of course, it's up to Hoyo. Now, of course, Hoyoverse has already mentioned it being a bug, but it is worth noting that it's not always going to be a skill issue. Sometimes it really is the game itself, right? Part of the discourse turned into a total shit show with just two sides insulting each other, threats, etc. I would post these videos, but I blocked the CCs already. I'm too lazy to find them again, which is totally fair. If somebody's just immediately resulting in insults, yeah, I probably shouldn't really listen to them if they don't have any real argument. But they were actually reasonable people. Sorry, but there were actually reasonable people that tried to argue with research below as a summary of what actually is going on with Anby on after a week of seeing research. You can dodge out of the in a 4 and 5. It's just very counterintuitive that you cannot input more basic text during the animation. Sorry, button mashers. And if you preemptively dodge for basic attack 5, then she is dropping down from mid-air when the iframes end. For basic attack 4, if you want to dodge out of the triple dash, you need to stop pressing the attack and preemptively dodge during the stabbing motion. Some argue that this is a feature and doesn't need to be changed. Just practice and get used to, right? Which, again, it really here or there on this one because in some cases like the expected outcome is how it should work, right? You can argue from a design perspective, um but at the same time you could argue that it's like this is the intended gameplay, right, of the actual character, um which yeah, here or there, but I would say it definitely like the main thing with this game is how combat feels to play, right? um and having stuff where it's like interrupting you pressing your buttons, that's not the most good feeling or fun thing, right? Just saying. Sorry, I had to pause the recording. I noticed my game crashed in the background. I think I think there's something wrong with my computer, not the game. But anyways, I've had issues with other things. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, she doesn't have less dodge frames, but she has issues triggering the bullet time that comes with dodging. This is a bug, right? Um, again, they didn't specify that in the known issues. And in fact, I can pull up the known issues if you guys want to just like, see all of that. So yeah, the actual like in-game known issues is super long, but as you can see here, if it's gonna let me scroll back up, right? This is what it currently states about Ambi, and there's nothing else about her currently. We'll see what happens in the future, whether that's will be fixed or well, I mean like if there's any more notes that is right. This specifically is going to get fixed next week, right? And we'll re-enable the background audio, right? Continue reading here. Everything else is from initial complaints are pretty much true, right? So yeah, of course, again being able to dodge here and not having less frames, but then like the whole bullet time thing is apparently a bug, right? Here's a video showcasing the above, right? Again, once again, um, can't exactly read everything on screen, but this is supposed to be them showcasing everything here, right? Which I'm once again going to pause just so I can like oh no, there it is, yeah. Okay, so he was dodging in the middle of the dash right there. I was gonna pause and like actually look for all the actual things, right? Yeah, I don't want to sit here and like showcase like all the full like thing here, right? Because that's gonna make the video longer than it already is. I don't think there's enough of a reason to. Like, I think the proof is pretty obvious that there are some mechanical issues with the actual. Oh, not I should say mechanical issues, but there are some actual gameplay issues with the character that people have documented and that Hoyo is aware of, and they are going to fix some of them already. I'm not gonna log into that. But yeah, if you do want to watch the full videos to see for yourself, of course, I will link the post like always down below, so you of course can see that. And so yeah, the drama blew up over the weekend. So it's only been one business day for the devs so far. No official statement has been made. What are your thoughts? Does Anby feel fine to play? Are we getting the full? Are we getting a full fix and 100? Oh my god, 1600 polychromes, or a bug fix and 300 polychromes, or will the issue be totally ignored by ZZZ devs? Obviously, it's not being totally ignored. They are just targeting what they have determined to be a bug. In terms of how many polychromes, to be honest, um, this because here's the thing. Billy's gave us only like 300, I believe, right? He didn't get like a full like polychromes. Now, to be fair, Billy is a free character, and there is going to be a difference between a paid and a free character. 100%. Like this is the case in like every gacha game. Uh, but in this particular circumstance, I don't think we're going to get like a full like multi. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a 300 or like even 100. Even like it's gonna be a low amount. Like I don't expect for them to give out a full multi. Now it'd be really nice, and I would hope they do, but expectation is not that because there's no record of them giving out a full multi for this kind of thing, right? The only case they've done that is it's gonna be like a Genshin Impact drama of like New Valette, where they made a change that was according to them a bug that the community got so mad about they were gonna like sue whoever. So they're like, okay, we take it back, right? So in a more extreme scenario, we probably would actually get a full multi and something else, but in this I don't think so, right? Personally, I swiped and got M0 W1. Number wise, she's completely fine. She definitely is clunky compared to every other agent. I do have confidence in CC devs to fix since they've done a good job so far responding to feedback. The limited character we're talking about, I don't know what they set for the president. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like we don't know the actual president or Zenless in particular, or when they completely break, limited characters, right? Because it hasn't happened as far as I know, right? Where they're just broken, right? Most likely they will claim these issues as bugs officially, and that way the only bug fixed and did not actually change the limited character, which again is most likely true. It would be listed as a bug, so there's not anything else. So yeah, that's gonna be like the drama. Now this video is already long enough, so I won't meander too much on this specific point. But I do want to know what you guys think down below, right? I again, what this user asked, right? Do you think Amy's clunky? Do you think these things are tinted? So on, so on. I just wanted to bring this news to light that there has been um, some issues with this character in particular, and I want to know what your thoughts are, down below, right? So don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch. I'll see y'all in the next one, which hopefully it's gonna be an interesting, in-depth Star Rail video. Depends on how much I get done on that, right? So, yep. See ya.